And then slowly but surely, we can take it left, right, down, up, and ask them, that's not it. If he misses it, I might present it again. Wait for it. No. Good. So good example there, right? If he misses it, asking that question, presenting it a few times until he gets that right answer and clicking that correct decision. Good. And then we can get a little silly with this too. We might bring this all the way down. Trick question. Good boy. So being able to separate now this seeking, this proactive mindset separate from my body. Right? It's not just me now, we have a thing. And this thing, we can use it in trick training, out of trick training too, but in trick training to shape their bodies as well, which we'll get into in a little while. So who here, you guys have been incredibly patient, who here wants to get into some tricks? Yeah, let's hear it. Come on, who here wants to do some stuff? Okay, fantastic. So I am here to give you guys the tools that you want to do. So Alchemist knows all kinds of tricks. He can lay down, he can roll over, he can wave, he can Spanish walk, he can bow, he can plie, he can rear, he can walk in the rear, he can smile, say yes and no, etc., etc. Long story short, I want you guys to pick the tricks that we are going to break down piece by piece for you all to take home today. Who wants to give me a trick to start out with? We're going to do a few out here. You guys seem very excited. What are we going to do? We want the lay down. Who wants the lay down? Oh yes, this is a popular one. Really popular. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to come here. You might notice I have several with a lunge whip and a dressage whip. So you have a carry whip, lunge whip, and dressage whip. And for this, I'm going to use my dressage whip. Alchemist right now is at liberty because he's a liberty horse. When we start this with horses at home, so maybe you aren't familiar with liberty work, I suggest a halter and need to have a little bit more body control. Before I start any trick, I want to make sure I can ask my horse to go back. I can ask them to go left. Good boy. And I can ask them to go right. This is so if they, excuse me, we're not going to spin. He says we might spin. Alchemist. He's very excited to be out here today, sir. Good, there we go. So pushing all the buttons, but if my horse starts to offer me a trick or move their body in a way that might not be safe, we're going to be very close to them, asking them to move a lot of different body parts. I have to be able to redirect that thought. So body control comes before any of this. For the lay down, for me, the way I like to approach this is I like to capture or shape my horse's natural pattern within the lay down. So the lay down is actually a combination of several different behaviors. Right? When a horse lays down, what's the first thing that they do? Yell it out. You. So they do move their legs, their head goes down, and their back legs go where? Under their belly, right? So what I want to be able to teach my horse, I would start this on a wall so that my horse knows that I need them to stay straight. If we start this off the wall and our horse is going to circle us, it's hard to say, I want you to lay down on this spot, and we get kind of a general, not quite as clean and crisp response. So I would start this on a wall. Alchemist is going to be front and center so everybody can see what we're doing. I like to use my body position. I would want a soft head down in the halter, and then very slowly I would tap their belly and ask them to kick up. No, not that. To kick up almost like we were going to kick up out of fly. Good. Until I get them base narrow. Good. Good. So right about here, you see where all those feet come together? Sir. Good boy. There we go. A little energy. Good. Asking him to go slow here so that we can all see. Good. So right here, this shape. Not going to have him lay down, but this is where I would want my horse to be, step number one. His head is down, his feet are together, and what this does, you can see there's a lot of weight on his front legs. Okay, this is very important. This is why the back legs have to be under, so that when we ask the front legs to move, they're going to have a natural tendency to want to kneel. That's step number two. As we build these steps, very good boy, Very good, boy. Let's hear it for him. He's doing a fantastic job out here. As we move on to step number 2, I have to give you guys this very important piece. It's a little missing ingredient that I see a lot in trick training, and this is the idea of energy. Energy is the desire to move or movement, especially in the lay down. We don't really think of this as energetic, right? The lay down is relaxed, they don't go anywhere. However, it takes a lot of energy to get a horse, especially a horse this big, down on the ground. So when they're moving their legs, you might have noticed when I was tapping his belly, he's shifting. All those legs are moving around. I want to reward the idea of constant movement on the spot, right? Almost like a little shuffle. Now I'll give it to the horse to decide if it's easier to bring those back legs forward or the front legs back, right? I kind of let them figure out what's easiest. Hi, buddy. So that when I start to ask those front legs to become a little bit more active, they're going to be able to position their body where they're the most comfortable. They have to be comfortable here so that they're confident and willing to try for us. So the next thing, I want to make sure I can pick up the boy both legs. He's like, what is that, buddy? I want to be able to tap behind my horse's knee and have them pick up both legs quickly. A little hustle, right? A little snap up. If they're here, is that energy? No. I want to see the desire to move somewhere so that when I put them into this shape, nope, not that shape. That is the wrong shape. Oh boy. There's Alchemist, everybody. This is his clinic, really, not mine. Whenever you're ready, sir, we can continue. So this is the fun thing about clicker training, right? I have not asked for this. I'm not going to reward this because in general, I don't want to reward my horses, there we go, for offering me things that I don't ask for, but can we all see how excited he is to be here, right? He absolutely loves his job, and as a performer and a clinician, that's incredibly important to me, right? My horses have to love this. That's why I do what I do. So even though he's being very silly out here, to me, that is one of the best parts of this job. Yes, very good boy. So here, why don't we reset? Not that. So here, if he's stuck in that idea, I'm going to use this as an educational piece. Good. Notice that tap didn't stop there until he moved out of that idea. Their body is going to go where their mind is. So when I'm touching, I'm looking for him to change what he's thinking about. If he's going to offer, maybe, good. Not quite what I want, giving him a little verbal recognition there. When he makes that right decision, we saw that back leg come up. And I'm going to ask again. So we're going to look for base narrow. The back legs come under. Good. And now I'm going to start to touch the front legs. And if the back legs go out from underneath him, I'll tap the belly, tap the front legs. And anytime he's thinking about something I like, I'm going to get quiet. Boy, oh, I know. He said, this is fun ground. Very good. And once they kneel, good. Very nice. We can get that lay down. Very good boy. So really reinforcing the idea that their body's going to go where their mind is. If we piece this together in a way that keeps our horses confident, they're going to be thinking about that lay down before it ever happens. So I want to get my horse to the point where they're looking for the lay down before I actually ask them to go down. Now once they're down here, what I would do to teach duration is I might grab this magical little target over here. Some horses, depending on their personality, will go down, stay down, they'll fall asleep. The first time, right? Some horses, they go down and they get up. Their body's going to go where their mind is. If they're thinking about getting up, they're going to stand up. We can't clicker train our horses to not do something. You can't train a horse in general to not do something. We have to train them what to do instead. So I would introduce my target, and I'd say, not that. Good. And I'd start to click and treat frequently for a touch and a treat. Ooh, there we go. And a touch and a treat. So that when he goes down, he's going to start to anticipate and look for this opportunity to receive a click and treat. I can't just click and treat for my horse staying here because they're not consciously staying in the lay down. They're not laying there thinking, I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay. That thought isn't there, right? So I have to give them something conscious to do. Good. And reward for that. Slowly but surely, I might work my way back to their hip. and say here. Good. Because I want to get to the point where I can walk all the way around. Good. Right here. Good. Using, no, not yet. We'll get there. Using that target to keep their focus on that lay down. All right, so once my horse is really confident, what I can do, I might grab a different tool here. What I can do is I can teach a couple different positions within the lay down. Once again, a halter and lead rope is really helpful here, especially when our horses are soft to the rope. When we teach this next bit, which is where we actually ask our horses to lay out, I want my horses very responsive and willing to follow that pressure. Who here rides Western? Yeah, we know what a neck rein is? Yeah? So when we're neck reining, I'm looking for flat pressure against my horse's neck to push them over. Sometimes we'll see horses asked to bring their head all the way around to go over. I don't think this is very comfortable, right? I think they feel like maybe they're gonna fall, so I want him to think about, if I just push, that would be a rein. If I push on his neck, he might go over flat. Very good. Yes. I don't know if you can see his expression right now, but he's like, did I do it? Good boy. So what's cool about training behaviors like this on cue, think about where we are right now, right? He can hear the loudspeaker, he can hear the audience, he can hear everybody around him, but he's pretty relaxed. And sleep. No, we're not going to hypnotize horses here. But as I was saying, we can use behaviors trained this way to actually start to condition emotional responses. So for me, when I'm working with my horses, say like after we have a really good session, I will ask them to lay down in that ring until they emotionally come to the very, very lowest, most relaxed point that they possibly can. Sometimes we have to ask them if they stand up to lay down again, but I'll repeat this until they essentially go to sleep. So that slowly but surely, they go to sleep sooner and sooner and sooner, so that if we're in a stressful situation, I might actually be able to ask for this position, which is associated to a really good state of mind. And we can see Alchemist here, he's pretty willing to chest hang out. And I can use that to build their confidence in new situations. Being aware of what our horses are feeling is really important, because it's going to play into how they feel when we ask them to do things in more difficult situations. So one final piece here, we're going to see if he's awake enough for this. We can ask here, before I ask for this, I just have to make sure everybody saw that he's clean, right? Yes? Okay, good, because that might not last for very long. So here, waiting. I'm going to ask him gently here, because I wasn't ready for the sit, although the sit is pretty adorable. I'm going to ask immediately for him to start to think about not the wave, not the wave, Alchemist. He's like, Mom, let me shine. I'm going to see if we can lay down. He says, not in the sit, so I'm going to ask him up. And notice here, I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to say, oh my God, buddy, we're on the spot. You have to go back down again. I'm just going to say, hey friend, that was, not the right idea. So here, body control, I want him back on the spot that he was on. So we're going to come down. Good. And just asking him to return to where he was, because I want him, he's very excited to be out here, but I do want him to follow my ideas a little bit more. Very good boy. Very good. Yeah, let us start at pose. Awesome. So, we'll see here if we can get a little, one more. Good boy. Oh my God. Oh, that is what we call a full send. Okay. Very good boy. Good. Good boy. So thinking about emotions and thinking about trust, as we work with these incredible animals, being able to put ourselves and them in situations where we have to trust our training, we have to trust ourselves, and we have to trust our horses. This is where the connection and the relationship really comes in, right? Because this is about the most vulnerable position he could possibly be in. same with me, right? If he makes a bad decision here, we're both in trouble. But being able to trust what you put in to get to this point, I think is really important to the whole way. So I'm gonna let him down here, very good. As I said, we all saw that he was clean. We are gonna sit now. Good boy. Very good boy. Aww. Now we'll do a little wave for everybody. How about alchemist, everyone? Yes, good job, bud. Very good. Very good. All right. Ready? Yeah. Oh, jeez. Whew, he's heavy. Good boy. Good. All right, that's the lay down, everybody. How about another one? How about from over here? Lots of hands. Keep in the room. The bow. How about the bow? Is that a good one? Yes? Is that a good one? I'm not convinced. Okay, awesome. So, teaching our horses to bow, if we're going to train the bow and the lay down, I won't train this at the same time because the idea is similar, as in our horses are going to have some energy in their front legs and their body is going to get close to the ground. So if I teach both, if I teach the bow and the lay down, oftentimes we only end up with the lay down because our horses anticipate it and they will lay down out of the bow. So I want to have one solid before I start the other. Often teaching the bow first will get them more confident with the idea of kneeling. So that can often be a really good place to start. So what I want to make sure of, once again, I would start this along the wall, just to make the right answer that much easier. I want to make sure I have a horse that if I lift up their leg, here we go, that they're willing to just relax. Right, step number one, covering this, your farrier will thank you, right? We want to make sure that our horses don't anticipate bowing every single time you pick up their leg. We're going to do this by making sure our bodies face forward, not backwards, right? When your farrier comes, they face back. My body position is an incredibly important part of trick training, right? The cue is made up of maybe a word, the position of my body, the feeling or the position from the whip. And so the way my body's facing here is incredibly important. Now, I'm going to reach down to my horse, probably with a halter on at first. Nope, I need this, I think. There we go. And I would start to ask my horse gently to rock back and build their confidence. Good job. Good. Until they go all the way down. Now that's step number one, right? When we've done a really big, beautiful, exciting performance, do I want to have to go through all of that to ask my horses to bow? I do not. I want to be able to salute the crowd and have my horses bow with me. So as we're building confidence, Alchemist here, fabulous boy, right? He's very, very confident with the bow. So when he goes down, we can see, I'll do it again here in a second, as I'm supporting his leg, we can see an incredible amount of body control. He's slow, he's managing where his weight goes until he feels the ground, and then he rests on his knee. When you start this with your horse, they're going to feel like they're going to fall over, right? They don't know where the ground is. So it's kind of like a trust fall. And the way we're going to build confidence is to just offer for them to start to rock their weight back. I'm not going to ask them to go further. I'm going to rely on the motivation I create through my click and treat for them to start to seek that behavior more and more and more until we end up on the ground. So looks like a pretty simple thing to hold up a horse's foot, right? We've all done it. This is a little bit more complicated in the fact that my horse has to balance with me and me with them. So I like to rest my forearm against their elbow. This is loose. I am not holding, I am supporting, and I'm not pulling this back. I'm not hiking it up. I'm letting this rest pretty parallel to the ground so that when I say back, you can see 2 fingers here. This is about what I want. As they come back, he controls it. Good boy. I'll click for that. That was very well done. So really just being there, can't stress this enough, as a support. We're not making our horse go to the ground. We're presenting that idea, clicking it, capturing it, creating motivation for our horses to find it, and letting them add on to that themselves. Once we have a horse who's confident with our hand, supporting their leg all the way down, I'm going to start to add a cue from the whip. So here, change it up a little bit. Good. So in order to do that, I need to make sure that if I touch the front of my horse's leg, they're going to pick it up. And I like the fact there that he took a step back. Our horses' bodies are going to go where they're thinking about. If I tap that leg and they step forward, does the bow go forward or backwards?
Backwards.
Backwards. So do I want my horse to walk back? Probably not, but I like to see a little bit of a backwards thought. Now here is where we can get pretty feely and pretty fancy with our pressure and release. We're going to combine pressure and release with positive reinforcement, and this applies to everything we do with horses. I want to make sure my horse finds peace and quiet within the idea that I'm looking for. Their body's going to go where their mind is. They're going to seek a release from pressure. We're going to combine those ideas. So when I'm looking to ask my horse to bow off of a whip cue, I'm going to tap their leg. And when I see that bow idea, not the backup. So there, if we get the backup, I'm going to say, go forward, good boy. Once I see the bow idea, I'm going to be quiet. If he needs help, I might touch again. Very good. Good boy. Good job. So there, seeing kind of the finished product, right? He doesn't need my help because he's had a lot of practice with that. As we start that, I'll still be present for my horse. Ready. Nope. I see that idea. Thank you. Ready with my hand to be able to support them if I need to. But remember, they learn in patterns, right? So I have to be really conscious of the pattern. I'm going to touch. I'm going to say, come back. If I need to, maybe supporting them, but letting that whip guide them as far down as they'll go. Without my support, I'm going to aim to catch that leg with my hand later and put it down sooner as they pick it up. One of the trickiest parts about this trick is making sure our horses learn to push their toe through the sand when they go down to bow. You all saw that moment there. We'll do it again here. Hi, my friend. Hi. Oh, wait for it. Wait for it. Keep forward. Don't be shy. Good job. So we all saw that moment. Thank you. When he comes down, you see right there, see his toe touch, 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 and look at him push. Very good. He needs to know that he can make it all the way down at his knee by putting some proactive effort into that. It's natural for our horses at first when they feel the dirt. What are they going to do? They're going to step down. So that right there, as I'm looking to transition this to a cue from my whip, I would touch first to say, no, pick up your leg, try again. And then I might offer my hand for a little bit of support, seeing how little I can do to slowly but surely transition that to a cue just from the whip. Eventually, we'll see here if he's on top of it. Come on. Come on. Are we on top of it? Oh, maybe not. Let's see here. Good. I'm going to repeat this a couple times. We can do better. Hold the applause. So here, if I'm going to look to clean this up a little bit, you know what I'm going to add is what we would call energy. Good. Because energy, we're going to, I'll tell you what. Energy is going to clean up how much he looks for this. So when I'm touching, you guys are very eager. When I'm touching here, I'm saying quicker, look for it, find it, good job, and up. And you notice one after another, he says, I'll spin instead. I say, no. Good boy. All the way. That's better. So they're more off of my body, right? Fantastic. All right, let's see. We're going to see how athletic I'm feeling today. Good. We can add a little bit of showmanship into this. Fantastic. Good boy. There's always that moment where you wonder if you're going to face plant. Good job. Up you go, buddy. Good boy. Let's hear it one more time for Alcatraz. Awesome. All right. I think we'll do one more. Hands, hands, hands. I haven't gone over here. Somebody's jumping up and down. the rear and walk, what I'm going to say to that is I'm not actually going to send people home with the pieces to teach horses to rear, because I do not believe every horse should learn the rear. I think it's easy for it to become a little bit unmanageable if we don't have a really solid foundation. But I will demonstrate it. How's that? I'll demonstrate it at the end. Yeah? Cool. Okay. Anybody else? Some right here. Side pass. Ooh, this is a good one. Who wants to see the side pass? Cool. So this is cool because the birdie work start to overlap a little bit. I'm gonna have him wait here because I need different tools. Okay. I know. I'll be right back. Good boy. So what I need for this is really refined body control. Our horses' bodies are made up of two main pieces, right? The front and the back. So I need to be able to have ideally independent control of each part. That means first I need to be able to push the hindquarters away and push the shoulders away. For me, my hindquarter yield looks a little bit different than most because I am a classical dressage enthusiast and I really like to encourage my horses to keep their weight on their back end. The traditional hindquarter yield, we ask our horses to transition their weight to their front end, plant their foot, and move around, adding a little desensitizing in here. I like it. So as their weight is on their front end, we're not asking for self-care, and to me that's just a little counterproductive. So in this, I call it a softening yield. It's just a fancy hindquarter yield. We're going to check the same boxes. That inside hind leg is going to cross under, that outside shoulder is going to stand up, and we're going to have control through the whole body while asking our horses to rock back. This is going to look like a very lateral leg yield on a circle line, but I want to make sure if I touch back there that they will move over. Beautiful, very good boy. Notice I'm not going anywhere. I'm asking him to just move around me. Hint, this is a foundational liberty maneuver. This is where a lot of our liberty maneuvers kind of stem out of. Beautiful. Very well done. So we can see there, clear it. There you go. We can see there his weight stays back, right? He's able to go all the way around. We might take that into a shoulder yield or a turn on the hindquarter. Once again, looking for balance and coordination. My horse needs to know their body before I ever ask for lateral movement. Very good boy. We might go both ways. Very good. Sometimes they don't even need us. Very good boy. Yes. Bravo, buddy. Good job. All the way. There you go. Good. So looking for that away from us first, and then I want to look for that towards me as well. The angle of my shoulders is incredibly important here to say, okay, I'm going to ask for your hip. Notice that front leg stays a little active, right? I still want that front end light. If I change the angle of my shoulders, my draw changes, and he should bring that front end towards me. Very good. We might play a little ping pong game here. Good job. Come on. Good boy. There we go. Good. And then shoulders circle. Nope. Good. Asking him to just be a little more on top of it. Wonderful. Going to bring him all the way around here. Good. So logically, if my shoulders forward means shoulders and backwards means haunches, if I face directly into his rib cage, we should get lateral motion. Yeah, good boy. There you go. Good job. Good. So for me, breaking it up into pieces, like here, am I clicking and treating a lot? No, because Alchemist knows these pieces by heart, right? He's very, very familiar with this. When I start this, say I'm just starting the shoulder yield towards, I want to be able to lift this up, and as soon as I see maybe that, I click and treat to build the idea. We build it in layers, right? Layers are small at first, and the more layers we have, the bigger the behavior gets. So the ability to maneuver him separately from the front and the back gives me the ability to balance him as well. If you teach the whole horse to go towards us or away from us at the same time. When I add more energy, I can't say more haunches or more shoulders. I'm going to get more of whatever he's in the mood to give me. So asking here, good, so like a little more haunches, very nice. Also not so forward, good, yeah. Very good boy, very good boy. Nicely done. How are we doing on time? 5? 15, fantastic, we're right on track. So, what I'd like to do for you here, I guess we could do one of two things. We could either do one more trick, or if you guys want, I could just play with Alchemist a little bit so you can see some of the really cool stuff he does. Does that sound good? Yeah. Does it sound good? Liberty is a beautiful way to build connection with our horses, as we ask them to move beside us, around us, and to feel the flow of our cues, the flow of that energy, as we ask for different maneuvers. Good job. Good. And I love Liberty, not just for the dance that it allows me to do with my horses, but also for the tools it gives me in other kinds of training as well. If I'm going to work a horse under saddle, I'm going to drive them, take them on trail rides, compete with them. This opens all new and more refined levels of communication that can help in all of those things. Ready? Canter. Canter. Actual canter. Canter. Oh my goodness. So here I'm asking for some forward. Really cute, good example there of what a lack of energy might look like. Was the idea there? For sure. Was the energy there? For sure not. So here, when I ask him to go forward, notice it's not a correction, it's not emotional. It's like I need to adjust this piece to make my horse successful, and then we might try. Ready? Ready? Canter. Good boy. Good job. Go. Good. All the way. All the way. Bravi. Bravi. Good. Good boy. Good. So thank you. A lot of what we see at Liberty too, as I said in the beginning, clicker training I reserve for quality and difficulty. When I'm asking my horses to move with me and around me at first, I won't necessarily use my clicker training because I want a passive mindset. I want them not looking for the next thing all the time, but to be able to just exist with me with energy as we move together. And this connection is where we start to build out into more complex and difficult things that I might use my positive reinforcement for. So here, building a little energy, right? You can see he's a little bit more willing to move. Good. And so here we're going to demonstrate a little something we call the cutting game. Who's seen cutting horses? Yeah? Have you ever seen a horse cut a person? Good boy. Very good. That's a fun one, right? One that we didn't get into today. The Spanish walk or stomp. Good. So looking for some lift in those legs. Say, come on, buddy. Forward. Pretending we are an Andalusian stallion. Come on. Yes. We need some flamenco music over here. Come on, buddy. Moving into a better spot. Step. Good. Bravi. Yeah. Good boy. There we go. Amazing. Good. I'll tip for that. Very nicely done. Good. And we might even try to go from an Andalusian stallion to a fancy Grand Prix dressage horse. Good boy. How about that? So good. Good job. All right, so I saved the best for last, right? The rear. Exciting, yeah? As I said before, not covering this is one of the last maneuvers I'll teach my horses to do, so that I make sure they not only have the physical tools, but also the mental tools to navigate the process of this. Now the process looks different for every horse. Alchemist is very playful. If he recalls, good. We can see there's a lot of energy, right? He wants to get me. 5 minutes, fantastic. And I can shape that because he's so confident. I can shape that up. He has a younger brother, almost identical on the outside, polar opposite on the inside, naturally worried, very sensitive, who learned the rear through classical principles. So half steps, pee off, we taught him in a much more controlled, well-explained way. The energy comes underneath from behind you, half vault on the cavesson, you stand up. Hello. Good boy. So, as we work on the rear, keeping track of where our horse's mind is at is incredibly important, so I make sure they're not learning to evade pressure. They can't be scared of what pressure is coming on to them, because if they feel like that rear takes away something scary, what are they going to do whenever they get scared? They're going to rear, right? So horses, I hear this all the time, I'm not going to teach my horse to rear because they're going to use it against me. Horses don't think that way. Right? They think in solutions. How can I solve the problem that's in front of me? And if we put the rear in the context of a solution to solve a scary problem, they are going to rear when they're scared. So making sure that they are very confident in their body control. Right? We're going to start here. We'll see how he feels today. Ready? Up. So here, asking for more control, more energy. Up. Good boy! How about that, everybody? Fantastic. Very good job. Good. So seeing Alchemist there in his walking rear, what an incredible amount of body control, confidence, and energy all mixed into one. So when we start out from the very beginning, teaching our horses that treat receiving mode, stand still, look away, right click treat, conditioning that treat. As we start to get into more and more advanced tricks, all the principles are the same. Being able to combine manners with clicking and treating, understanding that our horses' bodies are going to go where their mind is, and looking to give them that peace and quiet from our pressure when they have the ideas we want them to have, will open all kinds of doors, not only trick training, but also the connection you have with your horses. So we're going to do a meet and greet at my booth with Brave Harpies. We are booth 408, right down the aisle, straight behind you. We're going to be there in just a few minutes. If you have questions, want to come chat, you can also learn about my online training platform, in-person opportunities. We teach people to do this with their horses.